Hey everyone, this is SlimCube from GSA and I'm joined by SmallAnt1, the task master and creator of Super Mario Odyssey Tasks Season 2, which we are hosting on our channel. We decided to do a quick weekly analysis segment after the results showcase to give you guys some insight on the different tasks and routes you can choose. So SmallAnt, this is our first time here together. Let me know how you come up with these tasks and what specifically inspired you for task 2.
Alright, well, generally when I'm making a task, I usually just go to a kingdom and find whatever's unique about the kingdom, some interesting collectibles or mechanics, and try and make a task around that. With this kingdom in particular, I noticed there were a lot of those big orange pylons, there's a lot of the question mark blocks, and there's a lot of taxis, so I wanted to use them in this task, but I also wanted to force players to use a unique mechanic in the scooter. So with this task, I designed it in a way that you have to go to the certain checkpoint there to incentivize using the scooter. With this task, I looked around and I figured that the scooter is basically the only way of doing this task quickly. You have to drive around with the scooter, jump off of taxis, and hit blocks. The one thing that I didn't notice, unfortunately, were the big pylons right on the roof, right beside the checkpoint, which a lot of people did end up finding and using. But I'm hoping everyone enjoyed it anyways.
Alright, I think this task was super fun to do and had a lot of windows for optimization. And speaking of which, SmallAnt, you did very well in the first season of tasks, placing first on the leaderboard. So how do you route tasks and what is your thought process when trying to find strats and time saves, specifically looking at this task, task number 2?
For this task, when I tried it out, I generally try to find what's closest to the checkpoints and see the most direct line to get all of those objectives. And with this task, once I noticed the big pylons on the roof for me, I found that it's basically a direct line. You hit a taxi, you hit 2 blocks, you hit 2 more taxis, and then you go up to the roof and hit the pylons. The unique thing about this one, though, that actually made it pretty fun was there's so many different ways of doing all of those things. It was really cool trying to figure everything out in this task. So yeah, it's finding a few direct lines to complete all of the objectives, then trying out a bunch of different ways of doing all of those objectives and following those lines and seeing which one's the fastest.
Alright, man, thank you so much for the hard work you do on these creative tasks and crisp productions. GSA is super happy to have the chance to host them here. And to everyone watching, make sure to follow SmallAnt1 on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. He really deserves it.
Thanks for that plug, Limcube. Everybody should go follow Limcube too. But let's go look at the top 4 runs and see how they did.
Alright, let's take a look at the number 1 spot again, because this is very interesting. Obviously, same frame.
Actually crazy that they tied. It's incredible. And the movement was completely different too.
Yeah, so we'll see obviously Circle using the scooter here, as Tuva just skips the scooter entirely, hitting the question mark blocks pretty quickly here. And then both of them opting to do these little dram strat here, Circle doing it with a down throw, and both of them opting to do this spin throw to hit all of the pylons very clean.
Even the way they go onto the taxi is different. Like, Circle goes on kind of to the front, and Tuval long jumps onto the back of the taxi. Just completely different movement from both of them. It's really crazy that they managed to tie.
Yeah, I think what made Tuva catch up a little bit is, even though he did long jump, which is quite slower than just going for the regular jump, he was able to fit in 2 power rolls, which obviously made him go very fast through the through the starting section there, probably managing to catch up. And then the ending strat for them was pretty much the same, both going for this capture warp strat there and then buffering a spin throw out of the dive to hit the pylons as fast as possible.
I think Equan has really cool movement as well. Looking at Equan's, his is really stylish if we look at after the taxi jump, what he does.
Yeah, he's opting to go for a spin throw roll cancel jump. So he basically cancels his roll with a spin throw and jumps out of it to hit both of the question mark blocks and also capturing the pylon. So he basically has a chance to fly through the street there and bounce on the taxi immediately.
Yeah, and that's actually so crazy too, because you can capture the guy right there and he just manages to avoid the RC car guy while he's doing that. It's just so much all at once.
Yeah, really interesting. I actually did the same strat and I captured the RC car guy like 16 times, so it's really hard to pull that off.
During my attempts, I couldn't pull that off. I ended up doing something different. Let's see what Taizera is, because I've never actually even heard of Taizera before. I'm not sure. Yeah,
me neither. This is very interesting. So I think he kind of opts to do a pretty similar strat to what Tuva does. He does end up taking a little bonk there on the guy. I'm not sure if that lost time on him. And he pretty much does exactly the same route as Tuval here. This is actually a very interesting comparison if we look at those two guys. So both of them opting for this little capture warp there. Tuval just coming up barely ahead because he manages to play this a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, I think really the only difference that they do is I think Tuval does a down throw. No, they both do regular throws.
No, Circle does the down. Yeah. Circle does the down throw. I think the difference between them is not only the first question mark block. If we go back, I think Tuval pulled that out a little bit cleaner, but also the way they actually bounce on the first taxi. If you look at it right now, so Tuval hits the block quicker and he hits the second block quicker.
It does look like, yeah, Tuval has a faster dive on that first taxi, so that must be why Tuval's faster there.
It might actually be just because of the guy he bumped into. Maybe just a little bit of a faster spin pound too.
That is true, yeah. Faster spin pound. Just the tiniest little time losses, but adds up to like, I think it's 0.1 seconds difference. That's crazy.
Yeah, because other than that, their route was pretty much identical.
Yeah, but so close. Basically, we have Circle and Tuval with, I think it's a 10.41, and then Equan with a 10.6. So, top 4 within 0.2 seconds is insane.
Yeah, that's really crazy. And obviously we've just seen how much, like watching this entire results video, we've obviously seen how much optimization really matters. All of these little things, how do you throw Cappy there? How do you manage to pull out the fast and quick dive? All of that matters to get the optimal time in this task. And I think myself, this is one of the, like my personal favorite type of task.
Yeah, with this task during my attempt, I had a lot of fun with it. This was this is probably the most fun I've had on a task.
Yeah, for sure. And to be honest, I think looking at this task and also looking at the options right now that they decided to go for, it's really interesting. Sometimes it's probably the best way to just do different attempts and then end up timing them, because we've seen Equan capture the little pylon there. We've seen the top 3 skipping on that pylon completely. We've seen Equan didn't do the little capture warp strat at the very end. I'm not sure. That's probably another very close call, and probably depends on execution how well you pull it off. So it's really, really close calls over the entire route. And we see Circle, who still ended up being first, even taking the scooter, which the other 3 didn't do.
Yeah, that's actually really exciting for me, because when I designed this task, I actually made it to try and incentivize using the scooter. That's why I wanted you to warp to that checkpoint. The thing is, I didn't find these pylons when I was making the task. So it made it so the scooter on a lot of the routes was really slow, but Circle made it work, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, Circle ended up making it work, and on the other side, Econ was still close to them, and he even managed to make the little pylon work, I guess, in the end, because obviously it has a capture animation. He needs to capture it, and this is obviously bound to a little animation. But the speed you initially get from flicking with the pylon is obviously useful.
And I think, you know what? I think Equan probably had potential to get first place if he had done the capture warp.
Let's see here.
It would probably have saved at least 0.2 seconds, and I think his route might have been the fastest overall if he had just thought about the capture warp, but instead opted to go to the taxis, just because look like it does save enough time.
It is a very close call, because the way Tuval does it here is actually really interesting. He does it almost perfectly. He almost doesn't bounce at all. He basically shakes in the second he bounces off of the taxi. He almost doesn't get any height. I myself actually tried to pull that strat off, and I timed it against the normal spin throw, and for me it was 0.1 second slower, but probably just because of worse execution. So these are these close calls you need to make, and obviously a lot of it is just grinding and getting that one perfect attempt. And a lot of these routes had potential to come in first, but getting all of these tiny little strats in one clip is what you need to do to actually pull the first place out.
Yeah, actually, in the results even before like 4th place, there were a lot of people who at the top here had potential to get in top 4, but the only mistake they made is that they rolled into the pylons instead of did a cap throw. Like, there was probably 3 or 4 runs that had potential to get top 4 if they had just thrown Cappy instead of rolling.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest time saves you can get here in this entire task, is doing that dive into the spin throw. It's just so fast how you hit these pylons.
Absolutely. There's really nothing much else to say, I don't think, for these top 4. What do you think?
I don't think so either. If we learn anything from this, because this is obviously only the second task for now, and we're going to be having a lot more tasks, is that all of these small optimizations might end up mattering. So it's going to be frustrating grinding for the very top of this competition here, but sometimes you just got to get one more attempt in to close it out, to clutch it out. And this is pretty much the perfect example. Like, obviously we can be happy for both Circle and Tuval to that they both ended up getting first here, but if Tuval or Circle would have saved 1 frame, the other person would have come in second. So everything matters.
Yeah, it's incredible how much 0.1, 0.2 seconds makes a difference.
Yeah, but I'm in awe looking at these 2 runs. Actually, I think Tuval might have saved a little bit on the spin throw even at the very end, because I mean we can sit here and analyze this for hours, but I think we've went over the main parts, and what I learned from this is definitely look at every small detail. It will end up mattering in the long term, going into the future tasks, and obviously we still have a long road ahead with some hype and upcoming tasks very soon.
Here's what those next tasks look like.